Let's get into the agenda, and at the top of it, North Melbourne ruckman Tristan Xerri has been banned for 3 matches for a hit which knocked out Tom Sparrow cold at the MCG yesterday. It has ramifications on a few fronts, including the race to the All-Australian ruckman, where in some minds he had been the presumptive pick.
Yeah, I haven't really had a good look at it, and I don't really want to make any comment on it other than my first concern was for Tom and his family. Like, it looked nasty.
Gee, he's out cold, and that is not good news. And you can see there's a bit of biff on afterwards as well.
Yeah, I thought it was high. Once I saw my teammate down, I knew I had to sort of respond.
Go. Full blood rule. North Melbourne.
When it's a competitive game of footy and there's a lot of numbers around the ball, sometimes accidents like that are going to happen.
So that's reckless. He's going to... Yeah, he'll see some time for that. I don't think it was anything untoward for it, but he's got it wrong.
Yep.
We're all disappointed when any player gets injured, but that's the game, and there's always things that happen like that that are just unfortunate circumstances that are the result of 18 bulls going at each other.
Oh, he was out before he hit the ground.
Xerri's going over there now.
Yeah,
just
of course, yeah.
He's gone over to apologise, but the boys wouldn't let him.
The question was trailing arm or swinging arm. Was it an accident or was it careless? It doesn't have to be any more than careless. And in the estimation of the MRO, Michael Christian, it met the bill. It was clearly severe impact and it was obviously high to the head. Knocked a player out cold. So it had some of the trappings of the Connor Nash suspension from earlier in the year. How did you see it?
My flinch reaction was accident. That was my first reaction. I've seen all those angles before, but there was one from behind that has me revisiting that. That's the first time I've seen that angle from behind, which suggests that he should have had a greater duty of care. I think this one here. So that looks. So that's the first time I've seen that one from behind. That looks a lot worse. In slow motion, it looks terrible, Gerard. I'll argue the case with you on the Connor Nash one. In slow motion, it looks like it, but when you get knocked out, then you're in all sorts of trouble. You think it was well worthy, yeah?
Yep, I think it's clearly careless. Not callous.
No, careless.
I think Connor Nash was callous, but it only has to meet the threshold of careless. Nash got 4, so this fits neatly into 3.
OK. Yeah, well, I can't really argue against it. I think my first gut reaction was, he didn't mean that in any way, shape or form. I thought he was having a swipe at the footy. I think the look from behind, I'm a bit more inclined to think. I was thinking in the end 1 week. I know it's not going to get to 1 week, but I'm in our own minds. But now I can't really argue the case too much about it. So unfortunate for a man who's had a good year. He's had a really good year.
So those hefty suspensions this year that were shown, this is the 3rd one North Melbourne had. They've challenged the previous 2. So Tom Sparrow's matters, so how he goes through the concussion protocol. Then the spin-off, and I wonder if North Melbourne balances this up, is Xerri's the leading contender to be the All-Australian ruckman, but there is a chasing brigade. It has Gawn, it clearly has Grundy, who's charging home at the moment, Luke Jackson and Darcy Cameron. Now, Gawn, Grundy and Cameron haven't missed a game. Jackson's missed 3 through injury. For the prestige that's on offer there, it would be a bad time to miss 3 games.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't want to make this a habit, but Max Gawn's not chasing anyone. They're chasing him. He's still the #1 ruckman. And I really think Grundy's the one who's closest, and Cameron's breathing down his neck, and I'd have Xerri, who I really rate. But I think sometimes we get a bit carried away with the incumbent and the chasers. I don't think Tristan Xerri's able to do what Max Gawn does. He plays in a different manner. But Gawn, for me, is still the one. But it's Grundy that's closing really hard, and Cameron's had a fantastic year as well. And then over in the West, they'll be pushing hard for Jackson, but that's come late. And his time will come, I think. Where do you sit on it?
Yeah, I'm with Gawn and Grundy.
Yeah.
So there are those who are prepared to lock Xerri. If he serves his 3-match ban, you're going to unlock him.
Yeah.
He's no certain.
That'll be a matter for the selectors, of course, but no, they're still chasing the big fish.
The other case that goes to the tribunal tomorrow night makes no sense to me. So this is Adam Cerra, who'll be the first test case under the crackdown on umpire contact. We referenced this at the time. There were 9 players who were immediately in jeopardy on the snap change in this rule, and Cerra was one of them. And this is how it progresses. It progresses through round 8, 2024, a $1,250 fine. Then round 20 of that year, $1,800 fine, and then up to $31.25. And now up to an appearance at the tribunal tomorrow night, which I can't fathom. This simply does not belong at the tribunal. And if I were the chairman halfway through tomorrow night's case, I would stop proceedings and go, I don't understand what you're asking us to do here.
I assume he's going to work out whether he's going to be suspended, not just fined.
Andrew Dillon has been at great pains to say that this is not going to result in suspension. So I don't understand what it's going to...
Did he say not going to or not necessarily result in?
Well, I think he was trying to calm the horses in the days after they made their announcement.
He was to Damien Hardwick, who went very strongly in defence of Rao. I don't know whether he closed the door. I think it doesn't necessarily lead to a suspension.
So there's no possibility that what happened on Thursday night should result in a suspension. You can watch those for yourself and you can make your own judgments, and I'll give you the comparison piece in a moment. But I just don't understand what they're asking the tribunal for. And I guess we'll all learn. But if they go and ask for a $6,000 fine or an $8,000 fine, well, Harley Reid's just been given a $10,000 fine for his sixth incident.
Yeah.
This is the fourth of umpire contact, of which they're all... we're trying to avoid this, to give the umpires their space to get out. I do understand that. Yeah. But how this... I just don't understand what they're asking the tribunal to do. Just give him an extra $2 grand.
I assumed it was...
yourselves.
I assumed that suspension was potentially still on the table, and that's what the tribunal would determine. And they might come back and say, no, you can have 10. There was a little umpire contact with Rowell and Dacos on Friday night, but this is how hypersensitive, we are to it all. And it was the very, very tiny low end of the scale. So he's pushed... There's just a contact there, he backs out of it. Now, that hasn't been cited. But there was one that was involved Toby Green that we showed last week with Toby, that the contact wasn't much more than that resulted in a fine. So they're hypersensitive at the moment. And look, in my own mind, I thought that they were going to determine whether or not he was going to be suspended, because all the talk was, OK, if you do it again, you blokes, you've been told, you've been pointed out to you, if you do it again, you face suspension. That's what I assumed tonight.
So we sort of were given a crackdown and then told, oh, but by the way, we're not cracking down on suspension. I can't fathom what the purpose of it is, and I guess we'll learn tomorrow night.
Well, I can't fathom what the purpose is for fining a man for an act that, had he done it on the first occasion, I would have suspended him for, let alone the sixth. That, Gerard, I'm sorry, and I've defended Harley across the journey, that is a suspension every day of the week. And if you condone this in the manner of just giving him a fine, money's not going to be a problem for Harley Reid. There's the class-playing cohort that are in the media now will all agree on that. That's the leg breaker. That's a kick, Gerard. I'm not being oversensitive, over-dramatic. And as you know, I've been a defender of Harley's as a young, impetuous, brat that hasn't quite learned his way. But that is not a fine, Gerard, let alone the sixth time he's been fined this year. That is a suspension for Harley Reid every single day. And if you don't suspend that, you leave the door open for lots of terrible incidents. And that's failed the game, that.
Yeah, if we are searching for the dangerous trip,
that's a fail,
every bit of it.
Sorry.